Good evening, everybody. This is Blanche Eden with Black Trending News. Today, I'm going to talk about Jussie Smollett a little bit. I know it's been dragged out and everybody's really tired of hearing about it. But when this story first hit, I didn't have my podcast. Like, my podcast is really new. So I didn't have an opportunity to speak on it. So I just wanted to familiarize myself and others a little more about the case, because I think that we saw, we saw sides of it. You might have seen it briefly while we were getting ready for work on the news, or, maybe it's a quick clip, on our social media outlet that we use. But I don't think that maybe people might have taken the time. I took some time to kind of dig into this a little bit. And the connection that I see with what I see on the news and like TV shows. I don't know. I just feel like a part of me feels like this has a lot to do with his role on Empire. But perhaps it went wrong. Like, how awesome would it have been that here I am, I'm depicting a black gay man on television. I'm getting highly rewarded for this. This is groundbreaking for my career, because he is a child actor. He's probably did about maybe 4 movies. You know what I'm saying? So he hasn't had this outlandish career. So Empire was his breakout. You know what I mean? It was probably his big break, as most of us would call it. But what does this have to do with the incident that happened? You know what I mean? So I just find it fascinating that someone would put this all together, would have the courage to put something like this together. I just find it, I'm very wowed by it. So I just want to, talk a little bit about the American actor and singer. He began his career as a child actor in 1987, acting in films including The Mighty Ducks in 1992 and North in 1994. And then years later, in 2015, he portrayed a musician, Jamal Lyon, in the Fox drama series Empire. He's also appeared in a science fiction film, Alien Covenant. I guess he got that role in 2017. And he also played in Marshall in 2017 as Langston Hughes. So, I mean, as you can see, his work started to pick up a little bit after Empire. Like, he started, getting some work, but still not, nothing where anybody would probably go, oh my God, he's going to be, how can we make him the center? He became the center. Basically, this case made him center of the universe. I remember being in the mall and I was sitting down in the food court and I saw this huge, like, it was after he had came out and confessed that he had staged it and blah, blah, blah. Well, the cops came out. I mean, I don't remember him verbally coming out and saying that he did it. It was really his representatives that did it. And I'm pretty positive that's what I saw. He never did it with his own words. He had lied with his own words on the ABC interview, but representatives spoke for him when they were referring to what actually really happened. So we never saw it from his mouth. If this, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, please. I would like to see it. But I was in the mall and I remember seeing this huge, like, when you see they have like these TV. It's not even a TV, but it's like a podium, like a big, huge podium with, it's flashing different TV screens and shots or whatever. And I remember just seeing his face. I can't remember what it said next to his face, but it was almost like they were glorifying him. Like he was being glorified on the ad. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, he just staged a hate crime in front of the entire country, and here his face is in huge, being with a grin on his face, like, and I'm just like to myself, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Like, I don't get it, but then again, I just remember thinking to myself, wow, this guy totally duped everybody, basically, and doesn't go to jail for it. He had to pay $10,000 fine, and I think he got probation. I'm not sure. I think so. I think that was the most that he got. He paid $10,000. I think the original fine was $100,000, and he paid 10% of that. I was reading that they thought the $100,000 was too high for the class felony that it was. It was just too high, so he paid $10,000. Basically, so that Chicago can get back their money that they wasted on investigating this report, which is based on, what I read is what it looks like, which is fine. I mean, they got to get paid. People work hard. They should be, that's not my concern. Right, he has community service and $10,000 bond. Charges were dropped. His charges were dropped. That's what it says here. And currently they are getting a new prosecutor for it. I believe they want to reopen it and investigate it again. And that's the last news I heard on it from a few weeks ago. But I guess my concern is what kind of message this puts out to people. I think that he was able to get off the hook. It's really touchy. Like, should he be treated differently because he's a public figure? I mean, this case was exploited to the extent, this was made a public thing. It could have been kept private, but it wasn't, right? So now it's a public thing. He's a public figure. Should he be held, accountably different? And I really don't have an opinion on that. I don't have a yes or no on that because I don't know. I don't think that's my decision to make. And I haven't really gave much thought to it, so I don't have an opinion on it. But I will say that it does send out a message, and I'll leave it at that. It sends out a message that, this can happen. And my worry is that if it does happen to somebody who's not a public figure, who doesn't have $10,000, they'll be punished differently. So, there you go. Like, I mean, would he have been punished differently if he didn't have the $10,000? Probably. Most of us would say, yeah, he probably would be. Does $10,000 make up for what he did? Should he have been glorified, in advertisements? I mean, maybe he paid for them. Who knows? I don't know. With advertising, people get paid. So it's like, I don't care what you did. I've got to make money. You know what I'm saying? I got to get paid. So I don't give a shit what you did. You didn't kill anybody. So we're going to advertise you. We're going to take your money. So I guess that's what that was, But it was shocking to see that. He was born in California, the third of 6 children. He has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. He's biracial. His mother is African American and his father was a Jewish man whose family emigrated from Russia and Poland. He has said that his father would kill you if you called him white, unquote. His father was absent from his life for a significant portion of his childhood. He graduated from Paramus Catholic High School in Paramus, New Jersey. Smollett told his parents he was gay when he was 19. He also came out on the Ellen Show. So, interesting. You know, I mean, he sounds like he lived. Paramus is not a cheap place to live. Shit. So if you go to school in Paramus, I mean, you obviously, y'all living all right. So it's not like he grew up struggling, or it doesn't seem like he struggled, or, you know, so what would make this young man do this? I don't know. I mean, it just makes me worry that the way to the top is a scandal. I mean, I could be late to the party, which I usually am, or I don't make it at all. Nonetheless, scandal seems the way to the top. I mean, there was a story with, I forget their names, the Clermont twins. Very famous, you know, two black girls, blonde hair, voluptuous models, you know, Instagram models, whatever you want to call it. I heard a story about a scandal about something they did in the news, and it seemed like they got more famous. So is scandalation the way to the top, and why? I don't know. Like, when I was growing up, maybe I didn't notice it. You know, maybe it was always like this. And like I said, I'm late to the party. You let me know in the comment section what you think about this. In a 2016 interview with Out, he clarified his sexual orientation by stating, "If I had to label myself, I would label myself as a gay man." However, he stated his belief that openness to love is more important than gender, revealing that if I fall in love down the road with a woman, I'm going to love that woman. When Smollett's gay character from Empire engaged in a tryst with a female character, Smollett defended the plot development by stating that he and Empire's creator Lee Daniels were trying to create a conversation about sexual fluidity in the gay community. Daniels has stated that while he and Smollett are gay, they both occasionally want to have sex with women. Daniels stated that we're showing life on Empire, and both he and Smollett were incorporating their own sexual fluidity as gay men into the show. So, I mean, the show it seems like it's based on real life a little bit, which makes me, you know, think that the hoax case that he had about getting jumped by two white men had a lot to do with the show. I don't, you know, I don't know. I listened to the story and I don't feel compassion. Even when I heard it the first time, I didn't feel compassion because everything just was kind of up in the air. You know what I mean? I had to I gave it my side eye a little bit. And then I wasn't surprised when it hit that it was all just a hoax or whatever. You know, most people agreed that the interview he did on ABC was just complete. I'm getting ready to play a clip from that. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to go into it right now.
Smollett further detailed that he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly.
The scratches and bruising that you saw on his face was most likely self-inflicted.
The stage attack lasted 45 seconds.
We have evidence that we have the check that he used to pay them.
Today, Chicago authorities laying out what they say is the twisted tale of Jussie Smollett.
This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary.
It's been a saga that's lasted for 3 weeks.
There's a rope around my neck. They put a rope around my neck.
The accused attackers, caught on tape buying red hats and ski masks, now testifying against him before a grand jury. And today, one more twist. Entertainer Jussie Smollett arrested and charged.
Do you believe your brother's story?
Smollett attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and political language. When that didn't work, Smollett paid $3,500 to stage this attack.
Authorities now saying that reported hate crime was all a hoax.
How do you not believe that? It's the truth.
I think the question on everyone's minds is, will Jussie Smollett be prosecuted? Will he go to jail? While this is not a violent crime, this is a significant crime.
If this is true, that Jussie put together this hoax, then I think what we're looking at is something much, much deeper psychologically, emotionally that may be going on.
In a courtroom today, Smollett listened to prosecutors lay out their case.
Jussie Smollett appearing at his bond hearing, a serious look on his face throughout, turning to his lawyers, whispering things, sometimes nodding in agreement. His family standing in support of him, just 2 rows behind him.
Smollett out on a $100,000 bond. Chopper footage capturing him heading back to the Empire studio.
Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
It was the morning of January 29th.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, Jussie Smollett reported that he was the victim of a hate crime.
Smollett claimed he was walking home from a Subway restaurant when he said 2 men physically attacked him, hurling racist and homophobic slurs. Smollett describing that moment to ABC News.
As I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire, and I don't answer to Empire. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, "Did you just say to me?" And I turned around and I see the attacker masked, and he said, "This MAGA country," punches me right in the face. So I punched his back. And then we started tussling. Then it just stopped. And they ran off. I noticed the rope.
Okay, so just a couple things I noticed. God, it's just so. I wish that I would have seen him say that he lied about it. That's the first thing. Like I would have rather him come out and say that he lied about it. To me, it's like if you have a child that did something wrong, he or she is the individual that needs to say, "I'm sorry." And I don't think we see that, but we don't see that here. We don't see him coming out and saying, "I did the wrong thing. I shouldn't have did this. This is what really happened." Is somebody else talking on his behalf? That's the first thing that I just think is really awkward and just not right. Okay, so I do see here that Jussie Smollett apologized to the cast of Empire. He apologized for any embarrassment the recent allegations may have caused, but he maintained that he is innocent. The source went on to tell, shocked and dismayed, that Smollett still insisted on his innocence. They also said the actor mostly just paraphrased the statement his attorney had released that afternoon, which blamed the legal system and media for his current situation, and that's reported by CNN. It also says here the 2 gentlemen, Abimbola and Olabinjo Osumdero, have issued an apology through their attorney, claiming tremendous regret for their involvement in an incident that had stoked passions around the world and led to a major police investigation. In a letter issued by their attorney, the brothers apologized for the negative impact the apparently staged crime may have had on people across the country, particularly victims of actual hate crimes. They were seen on surveillance footage the night of the incident and later questioned by police. They were arrested by eventually released and have cooperated with the police investigation. It has not been revealed if they have been granted immunity from the prosecution for their role in the apparent hoax. This is an old article here from Deadline that was back in March. Another is his pins that he's wearing on his sweater when he's in the interview. He's wearing a Black Power pin. He's wearing, LGBTQ rainbow pins. And I think it's a mockery. It's almost like a joke to him. I mean, now it looks like a joke. Like, I don't know. I just noticed that he was wearing the pins. I saw this interview a few times. I didn't notice that he had the pins on his sweater, and it almost looked like he was just trying a little too hard, and some of his answers were just a little too, you know, I don't know, inauthentic, or whatever the word is, unauthentic, or just not authentic at all. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that, and a part of me feels like there are people out there that are admiring this just a little bit. This seems to be the trend. You know, I'm not going to get into politics, but I said this during the election of our current president, that he's probably going to win because he's getting so much media attention for, you know, doing what people are saying is wrong. It's just, he's doing the wrong thing and he's getting a lot of media attention for it, and now he's the president. That's where I end on that. I don't talk into it too much. But the same thing is happening here. It's like, I did the wrong thing. I'm not fessing up to what I did. I don't have to. And here we are. Now, a part of me feels like he is going to get movie deals and roles and all kinds of good stuff. Another thing I noticed too, a couple months ago, there was, you know, everybody was dragging Cardi B for, you know, hustling dudes in the club. There was a tape, and people recovered this tape, and it was in the lost files of Cardi B, and they were dragging her for, you know, saying that she drugged men up and she took their money. And then a guy came out and said, yeah, she drugged me up and took my money. And I probably should do a podcast about that story and follow up on that guy. But he did come out online and make his own video. I believe it was on Instagram, telling the world, I was one of the men that Cardi B came after.
You gotta go to a good studio and you gotta put in that bread. I did it with my money. So for a bitch to say that I don't motherfucking deserve it because I don't put in no fucking work, now that's when I feel like niggas is bugging. Because I did it myself. Niggas must have forgot, my nigga, the shit that I did to motherfucking survive. Like, I had to go straight. I had to go, oh yeah, you wanna fuck me? Yeah, let's go to this hotel. And I drug niggas up and I robbed them. That's what I used to do. Nothing was motherfucking happening to me, my nigga. Nothing. So for a bitch,
here we go. So Cardi B says, I do it. Somebody comes out the woodworks and says, yeah, she did it. And then now she's in a movie called Hustlers. It works. What is my point of the story? Is that it works. It is a new form of advertising. It's a new form of marketing. It is collaborating real life with fictional life, with the movies. So how can we, you know, create this facade around your character and relate it to you? Have a good day, people.